Here is something no one taught you in school. Before 1900, the buildings we called hospitals looked nothing like what we have today. Nothing. They were architectural monuments, towering, decorative, acoustically engineered spaces with high vaulted ceilings, expansive courtyards, and bell systems so large they could be heard for miles. And then, within a single generation, almost every single one of them was gone. Not renovated, not repurposed, gone, demolished, replaced, erased, quietly, systematically, and almost universally across dozens of countries simultaneously. The official explanation says this was progress. But the deeper I looked, the more that explanation began to collapse. Let's start with what we're told. We're told that pre-1900 hospitals were primitive, dangerous even, infection-ridden charity wards where the poor went to die. We're told that as medicine advanced, these old buildings were naturally replaced, superseded by the gleaming scientific institutions of the 20th century. Progress, evolution, the march of rational thought displacing superstition. That's the story. But here's the first anomaly. If these were simply inferior buildings, the transition would have been gradual, regional, uneven. Some cities holding on longer, some adapting, some repurposing. You'd expect something to survive. Almost nothing did, and what survives indicates that these old buildings were far more advanced and far from infection-ridden. Hôtel Dieu in Paris, founded according to official records in the 7th century. The version that stood in the 19th century was a vast cathedral-like complex on the Ile de la Cité, arched corridors, soaring interior chambers, a bell tower integrated directly into its healing wards. It was demolished and rebuilt in 1878. The old structure, gone. The old Bethlehem Royal Hospital in London, Bedlam they called it, a building so architecturally ambitious that visitors came from across Europe simply to walk its halls, moved, rebuilt, the original structure repurposed for something else entirely. The Royal Edinburgh Asylum, the Pennsylvania Hospital in Philadelphia, the Groote Schuur in Cape Town, the São João Hospital in Porto. The pattern repeats with unsettling precision across every continent where Western infrastructure had taken hold by the mid-1800s. These were not small clinics, they were not modest stone buildings, they were massive, ornate, over-engineered for what we're told they were used for. And here's the strangest part, they were all equipped with bells. Large bells, sometimes multiple bells. Bell towers built directly into the medical complex itself, not into an adjoining chapel, not into an administrative building nearby, but into the healing wards themselves. This raises a simple but critical question. Why would a building designed purely for the containment and treatment of the sick need architecturally require a resonant bell system integrated into its healing spaces? No one seems to ask this question. I started asking it. The official explanation is that these were simply time-keeping mechanisms, shifts changing, meal schedules, administrative signals. That explanation held for me until I found a particular reference in an 1847 hospital administrator's journal from a facility in Edinburgh. A facility that was demolished in 1902, its records scattered across 3 archives, none of which have been digitized. A researcher I corresponded with had spent months physically reviewing those documents. The journal entry in question described the bell ringing schedule in a way that didn't match any shift change or administrative function. The bells were rung, according to this administrator, for the patients, specifically for patients with certain conditions, what we might today call neurological complaints, chronic pain conditions, what the era called nervous disorders. The bells were rung near these patients at specific times in specific patterns, and the administrator noted matter-of-factly that this practice had produced results that the newer chemical treatments had not. He wasn't theorizing, he was comparing. This raises a simple but critical question. What exactly were those bells doing? The pattern repeats with unsettling precision. In an 1863 institutional record from a hospital in Vienna, a building demolished in 1911, there are references to tonal treatments. In a Portuguese colonial hospital in Macau, demolished in 1904, local records preserved by a Catholic missionary organization describe large resonating vessels used in the treatment of fever and what the records call disorders of the vital energy. In a charitable hospital in New Orleans consumed by fire in 1887 under circumstances that were never fully investigated, a former patient's memoir describes waking each morning to the sound of bells and noting that her recovery from a condition her physician had called incurable seemed to accelerate with each passing day in that ward. Anecdotes, individual accounts, not data. But here's the strangest part. When I started looking for the bells themselves, the physical objects, I ran into a wall. Not a shortage of information. A wall. The bells from pre-1900 hospitals are almost uniformly unaccounted for. In many cases, the demolition records note the bells were removed and sold. Sold to whom? No further documentation. In other cases, and this is where the timeline becomes impossible to ignore, the bells are documented as having been melted down. In waves, in coordinated, almost choreographed waves. The first wave came with the demolitions themselves. When the hospitals came down, the bells came down with them. Some were relocated, most were melted. A few were preserved in museums, stripped of their original context, labelled simply as church bells or civic bells, with no explanation of where they had hung or what function they had served. The second wave came during the World Wars, both of them. In World War I, across Britain, France, Belgium, the United States and beyond, citizens were encouraged, sometimes legally compelled, to surrender metal objects to the war effort. Bells were specifically targeted. Thousands of large, resonant, low-frequency bells were collected and melted down for munitions and industrial material. The official record frames this as a resource issue, a metal shortage, a wartime necessity. But consider the timing. By the 1910s, most pre-1900 medical institutions had already been demolished or comprehensively rebuilt. Their bells were already gone or already removed. The bells being collected in wartime scrap drives were largely the surviving ones, the bells still hanging in municipal towers, in civic buildings, in the shells of institutions that had once used them for purposes beyond simple timekeeping. The evidence suggests something much larger was being quietly concluded, and here's where it becomes impossible to ignore. Researchers studying frequency medicine, acoustic therapy, and what some have called resonance healing have noted repeatedly that the tonal range of pre-industrial large bells corresponds almost precisely to frequencies now studied in experimental sound therapy. Low, sustained, harmonically complex tones in the range of 40 to 200 Hz. Frequencies that appears, I should say, to have measurable effects on human biology. Some researchers argue these are the same frequencies that the body uses in cellular repair. I am not a scientist. I am not making a medical claim. I'm simply asking, what do we actually know about why these bells were where they were? And why does the answer every single time appear to be, we don't ask that question? Here is what the official history of medicine tells us. The late 19th century was a period of rapid scientific advancement. Germ theory, developed by Pasteur and Koch, finally gave medicine a rational foundation. The old hospitals, inefficient, poorly ventilated, architecturally impractical, were replaced with modern facilities built around clinical logic. This is the official history, and it's largely accurate as far as it goes, the Flexner Report of 1910 in the United States being perhaps the most documented example. Abraham Flexner, a researcher with no medical degree, toured American medical schools and produced a report that effectively condemned the majority of.
For over a decade, the gaming world has been chasing a ghost. That ghost is the Source 2 SDK. Since Valve first teased their new engine, developers have been salivating at the thought of getting their hands on the tools. We've seen what Valve can do with it. We've seen the lighting, the Rubicon physics, and the legendary optimization that makes Valve games feel like Valve games. But for 10 years, those tools stayed behind a locked door. Unless you were a high-level partner or a Valve employee, you were stuck on the outside looking in. But while we were all waiting for Valve to drop a traditional SDK, something was happening in the background at Face Punch Studios. Gary Newman, the creator of Garry's Mod and Rust, was building a love letter to Source 2. He called it Sandbox, or as some say, S&Box. For a long time, people thought Sandbox was just going to be Garry's Mod 2, a sandbox where you play other people's creations. But as of March 2026, the entire landscape of indie game development is shifting. The news we have been waiting years for is official. Face Punch has finalized a standalone license with Valve. This means you can now build a game in Sandbox, export it as a standalone executable, and sell it on Steam as your own professional product, completely royalty free. This is the birth of a new modern engine war. This is Valve's current secret weapon to reclaim the scene from Unity and Unreal. Today we are breaking down why this deal is such big news for gamers and developers. Before we get into the legal deal, we need to understand what Sandbox actually is. According to Face Punch's official description, Sandbox is a spiritual successor to Garry's Mod and a love letter to Source 2. It's built to eclipse what was possible before, not just modernize it. We're using Source 2 and everything we've learned from Source 1, Garry's Mod, Unity, and Unreal to create a modern, intuitive, moddable game development environment. Just think about that for a second. They aren't trying to make a better Gmod. They are trying to take the best parts of Unity and Unreal and combine them with the Valve feel of Source 2. It's a full game engine and platform where you create in a familiar scene-based editor, but unlike other engines, multiplayer is built in from day one. You create a game and it's instantly playable. As Gary puts it, this is a long-term project. They aren't looking for a quick win. They are building a platform they want to use themselves for the next couple of decades. With the Steam page already live and a full launch window set for April 2026, we are standing on the edge of a new era. Anyone who has tried out Sandbox already can tell you it has insane potential when it fully launches. The possibilities are essentially endless. So now let's get into the heart of the new developments. On March 25th, 2026, Gary Newman dropped a bombshell in their newsfeed. He stated, "We signed the new license with Valve this week, allowing us to allow people to export games from Sandbox's editor and ship them as standalone games on Steam, completely royalty free." He admitted that this wasn't an easy deal to strike. He called it a bit of a complicated journey that required a lot of reassurance and compromises. But in the end, as Gary famously said, Valve did the bizzo. Usually when you license an engine, you are signing away a huge chunk of your wallet. But this deal allows you to take your Sandbox creation, let's say you made a revolutionary tactical shooter, or maybe even a cozy farming simulator, and then you turn it into a standalone game. The player at home doesn't even need to have Sandbox installed to see or play your game. You don't owe Valve or Face Punch a single cent in royalties for using their engine. Sandbox is entering the market and saying, keep your money. You owe nothing for using the Source 2 technology, provided through sandbox. This makes it one of the most financially attractive engines for any developer to launch on Steam. Valve and Facepunch are essentially paying it forward. They want to see the next generation of creators succeed without the weight of corporate greed crushing them before they start. But you might be wondering, why is Gary doing this? Why wouldn't he at least take a small cut? He is providing the tools and so much more. In November 2025, when he began the process of open sourcing sandbox components, he said, "Valve gave me my chance. I'm already rich. I don't want to fuck anyone over." He expanded on this in further interviews, explaining that his entire 20-year career is thanks to Valve taking a risk on a modder from the UK back in the early 2000s. Gary's mod gave him more money than he could have ever dreamed of, and now he feels a responsibility to pass that.
Reporting successful jump procedure.
Roger that. Begin field-based setup.
Houston, I've spotted something near the LZ. It's closing in.
jump successful. All systems check. Gravitational strength 1.05 G. Atmospheric pressure within safe levels. Magnetic field check. Error. Repeat magnetic field check with stationary equipment. Star system positioning check. Milky Way galaxy. Sycorax belt. Planet Galatea 37. Ashley. We have arrived.
Welcome to Galatea 37, Mr. Riggs. It's so beautiful here. Virtual simulations on Earth were good, but this is amazing. An alien tropical paradise, and we're the first humans to experience it.
I'm not exactly human. You have a few parts missing as well. And the paradise part is also left to be determined. Remember your training, Ashley. We should set up a base as soon as possible.
You could at least pretend to be human. Just a bit. But you're right. There's no going home until we can construct a functioning rift station. Let's start with the basics.
Ashley, construct a headquarters building to secure our presence here. It will allow me to reconstruct if my armor is destroyed.
We don't have enough carbonium to build an HQ. Let's scout for a deposit and set up our base close to it. We need to move quick. It's probably a matter of time before the natives spot us.
We've gathered enough resources to construct a headquarters building.
Finally. Let's place it close to a carbonium deposit. This will help us speed up resource production. Headquarters construction is in progress. This is going to be our main base of operations on Galatea 37, our new home.
We have to protect this building at all costs. You will be teleported here whenever I am critically damaged. There is no other backup if this building is destroyed.
That's basic training, Mr. Riggs. Let's focus on the less obvious things.
I am required to remind you of basic protocol, even if we've done this before. We need to expand the base. Let's build a carbonium factory to do the digging for us.
Yes, we've got much more interesting things to do. Let's automate this.
Not enough carbonium. Our base will require huge amounts of power to operate. Right now, we can only construct some basic power plants, wind turbines, and carbonium power plants.
Wind turbines are less effective, but they work around the clock. Carbonium power plants are very effective, but they use up the deposits that they are placed on.
In the beginning, it's best to use a combination of these power sources. We can balance energy peaks and shortages by storing excess energy in energy storages. Also, remember to connect all buildings to the power grid using energy connectors. They connect all buildings within their area of operation, even if power lines are not visible. Ashley, I'm sure that our presence will not go unnoticed. We should build up our base as quickly as possible.
Standard protocol advises to set up walls and sentinel towers around the base. However, I don't expect as much aggression from the native fauna as in the simulations.
So far, it looks like the long-range quantum scans were very accurate. The local fauna and flora appear almost exactly like during training. Follow the protocol, Ashley.
The environment in the simulation was very accurate, that's true. But the scenario was crafted by Riftbreaker Command. They usually focus on the brute force aspect of these missions.
Do you want to run a brute force check if this is a simulation?
You never give up, do you?
Do you?
Okay, Mr. Stubborn. I guess it won't hurt to set up some solid defenses, just in case.
Thank you, Captain Novak.
You're welcome, Mr. Riggs.
Ashley, I strongly advise you to construct an armory. It will allow us to craft new weapons and upgrades, and also manufacture field repair kits, as well as other usable items.
And it will produce more ammunition for your guns. Yes, that is an important building.
detecting a large group of creatures heading towards our position. It looks like our presence is being noticed. Ashley, we don't have a lot of defensive structures. Prepare to fight.
I guess you were right about setting up more defenses. We'll have to handle this ourselves. Remember to use repair kits if necessary. Carbonium storage is full. We should construct more storage buildings. Base is under attack.
Ashley, are you still skeptical about the local creature's level of aggression?
I'm skeptical about the procedures for prepping this planet for colonization. Humanity lost its love for nature after the Yellowstone eruption. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to preserve this ecosystem.
Earth is barely habitable at this point. We have to secure Galatea 37 for colonization and resource extraction as soon as possible. Excessive care about the local environment is unnecessary.
That's not entirely true. Other rift-breaking missions have already secured a number of resource-rich planets for humanity. We're not on the brink of extinction.
Our goals on this mission are clear, and our survival and security is the top priority. Damage to the ecosystem is inevitable. You wanted to come here yourself, and you knew what has to be done. Are you doubting the mission?
I know what has to be done. That's not the point. Galatea has to be prepared for colonization. I don't doubt that. If I didn't come here myself, then someone else would have. I believe that we can do this in a better way. We have to defend ourselves and secure the necessary resources to set up the Rift Station. But we don't have to destroy all the wildlife we encounter. Humanity doesn't need another stripped-down factory world. If we want to progress as a species, then we should study this planet and learn how to blend with the environment and prepare a safe home for humanity.
It looks like we have the base up and running. If you'd like to construct more advanced buildings, you'll have to upgrade the headquarters building. Unfortunately, this process also emits a lot of high-frequency energy waves.
These creatures are clearly drawn to our energy emissions, so it will be like an alarm bell for them. We should strengthen our defenses before upgrading the HQ.
won't have enough AI cores to support any more defensive towers. You will need to construct additional AI hubs to expand our defenses. Remember to build more power plants before you do that. AI hubs consume a lot of energy. Ironium storage is full. Build more storage facilities. Armory construction finished. We can now use it to craft new items. It will also automatically manufacture ammunition for my weapons.
Not enough carbonium.
is forming up.
It's hard to see anything in this fog.
The fog is gone. Base efficiency is back to normal. Ironium storage is full. Build more storage facilities.
Too close to another portal.
Crafting completed. Crafting completed. Crafting completed. Headquarters upgrade in progress. This will attract a lot of attention.
We should reinforce our defenses as much as we can. Things are going to get very hot very soon.
I am glad we are back on the same page about properly securing our base.
We can't save this world if we let it kill us. Hey, Mr. Grumpy?
Why do you insist on calling me names?
I hope you're not offended, are you?
No, that would be inefficient.
Come on, Riggs. Let's not be so serious. I had to give you a better name than what they called you.
Rift Jump and Exploration Megasuit Mark IV, Griffin variant. What is wrong with that name?
It's inefficient.
I can sense the I'm shaking. I estimate a few thousand creatures running at our base. They are very close. Prepare yourself, Ashley.
We've made all the preparations that we could. Let's go out and meet them.
neutralized.
This will buy us some time until the next attack. Let's check what's new after the HQ upgrade.
We should start downloading new blueprints so we can construct more advanced buildings and items. Build a communications hub as soon as possible.
Okay, let's remember to build some additional power plants for it. It consumes a lot of energy. I can hear distant thunder. The wind is also picking up. A storm is coming. The storm is getting really intense. I hope it doesn't overload our power grid.
Communications hub construction in progress. We can download all the technology blueprints that we need through this building's quantum entanglement template matrix.
It's a pity that we can't upload anything back to Earth. There's so much data to be gathered here. I can't wait to start collecting research specimens.
We will be able to share all of our research data as soon as the Rift station is operational and the rift back to Earth has been opened. Let's focus on that first. Communications hub construction finished. We can now use it to download new technologies.
Carbonium storage is full. We should construct more storage buildings. Base is under attack.
A portal has been destroyed. The communications hub is operational. We can use it to download new technologies.
We should start downloading new technologies as soon as possible. Our loadout for the rift jump included only some basic blueprints.